Hello everybody and welcome back to Kev's Hobby Showcase. I'm of course Kev, and today we're going to be doing a little discussion on the Marvel comic crossover Blood Hunt. So I know this has already been out. I think the trades are already starting to come out, so most people will have already read it. So, but I'll give if you haven't read it yet and you don't want to have any spoilers, basically I'll give you a pause for a little bit and give you a chance to just stop the video. Otherwise, we're just going to keep on going. Okay. I figure by now, if you haven't read it yet and you want to, you would have already turned this off. So anyway, we're going to jump right into it. So, oh, let me adjust because what we're going to do is right up there is going to be what all the comics of it that I have. I've already taken the pictures and they're going to be put right up there. So first thing I'm just going to cover just a few topics of this, and then I would like what I would really like is for us to have a discussion in the comments. So basically, what happens is all of the Dark Force users are basically possessed and taken over, and release the Dark Force all over the planet, which allows the vampires to come out. Now, I know this scenario sounds, well, for some people, it's going to sound very familiar. There was a series on the Sci-Fi Channel called Van Helsing, where it was instead of because they don't have superheroes there, instead of Dark Force users, it was basically volcanic eruptions that sent enough ash into the atmosphere that basically created, basically blocked out the sun and allowed the vampires to come out. So this isn't a new concept, but this is Marvel's little twist on it. So, so like I said, first it was that, and then basically as the story progresses, everybody finds out that Blade is the one responsible, because Blade launches a sneak attack on the Avengers, and he basically tries to take over the entire world with this new vampire army, and then eventually it's found out that he himself is being possessed by an entity called Varney. So I mean, I haven't read too much into the Blade comics, so I don't know too much about this character. But what I do know is basically he does not like Blade at all. Apparently they're pretty much like rivals. So yeah, so he takes over Blade and he has him do all of this to bring the vampires out. So what does eventually happen is the character Dracula, which they do have in Marvel Comics. They've had him in there for a long time, although they do kind of evolve him every time, I guess, a new writer or a new artist decides to take over. So he doesn't look like, like from the old movies where it's, just a caped figure that's a vampire. He's usually wearing like a suit of armor and stuff like that. So, so yeah, he does look quite different than he normally does. Sorry if I'm looking off into the distance here. Yeah, that's better. So, so basically, what we have here is a scenario where the planet is in total darkness and vampires are everywhere. So, what I found interesting was basically everybody who was associated with vampires was trying to fight the good fight. Some of them were overwhelmed. Some of them were turned, but then of course they were turned back because we'll get to that when we get to the ending of the story. So another thing I found interesting was that it seemed like there was a lot of tie-ins, but nothing really leading to like what was supposed to be like the main thing of the story. There's a lot of little tie-ins here and there, like what they usually do with their crossover events. It's like like certain times, like Fantastic Four was one of them, had a few issues that was like a vampire tie, says a Blood Hunt tie-in where basically he and Alicia were at a museum when it all started, and Reed Richards basically stretches himself all out so that he could protect everybody there from being bitten. And he's, so since his skin's elastic, he says, keeps on saying about how he can feel them trying to bite through him and whatnot to I guess turn him, and of course it wasn't working. So yeah, it's it just became very interesting how it seemed like everything was going in the vampires, well, for the most part in the vampires' favor, but of course, there was like those little things that weren't. And so basically, what this whole story led into was Doctor Doom basically taking over as the Sorcerer Supreme and defeating the vampires. So it was like another kind of like Doctor Doom Reed Richards rival, because at the same time he was trying to find a cure for vampirism and claimed that he had one. So I don't know how that all would turn out, but it turns but I believe it's been a while. I mean, it's been a couple months since I read the whole thing, so um, I believe what happened was is that Doctor Doom did it. He got the whole thing done before Reed Richards could present his cure for vampirism. So yeah, it's like another rival. But so far they haven't really done much with Doctor Doom. Since then, they kind of been keeping him kind of like vague, like off on the sidelines. Um, but this does look like it was also, this storyline was also designed to bring back the Midnight Suns line of characters. I don't know whether they're going to bring them more into the spotlight for like to be more in like more in the lead. I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait and see. I know there was one of the series was called Blood Hunters, which is now an ongoing series. That's not one I'm currently collecting, but it is out there. So Blood Hunt did bring some things to light, so to speak. I mean, no pun intended. I mean, one of the things it brought to light was that all of a sudden now vampires can be in the daytime. So that was a little interesting and strange, not to not to be a little redundant here. So yeah, so now it's like Doctor Strange is no longer the Sorcerer Supreme. Doctor Doom is, and it's gonna be interesting what they do with all this in the future. So, I mean, I found all this pretty interesting. I mean, please put in the comments what you thought if you've read the story. If you haven't read the story and you have some questions, I mean, obviously you could answer them. Excuse me, ask them, and if I have an answer, I'll give it to you. And if I don't know, I'll just tell you I don't know. I mean, at the very worst, I could just look through the issues and see if I could find your answer. But I would basically implore you to actually read the story. Like I said, the trades are coming out. I think I saw the main one out already, and usually once the main one's out, anything else that would be with it is soon to follow. So, sorry. So basically, I do believe it's worth the read. Also, I do believe it was put out there with the intent to bring out certain characters that they kind of like had like on the back burner for a while. But how else are you going to bring them out, right? Than to have them in this huge major crossover. So I guess only time will tell, and we'll see what Marvel Comics does with all this. For all we know, it could be a prelude to having it all in the MCU. Because that's usually kind of what happens. Once you see it in the comics, you see it in the movies. So we'll see. I guess they got a lot of good stuff coming out. Hopefully, yes, I know the last couple of movies, not everybody really liked, with the exception of I think Deadpool and Wolverine. But they are making more, and they are promising to have Doctor Doom. So we'll see how all that goes. And so again, I will say, give Blood Hunt a read, and tell me what you think. Maybe you have a different opinion. All right, so thank you very much. Take care of yourself. Please like and subscribe. And also, John and I not only have our channel, Tabletop Jones Productions, I almost forgot the name, but we also have a Patreon channel called Tales from the Tabletop. It is a pay membership site, but we're trying to make things interesting over there as far as the games that we are playing. So if you'd like to check it out, please do. And we're trying to basically expand our audience and reach as many people as possible. So thank you very much. Thank you for your time, and take care of yourself.